I mean, and everybody else knows now that, I've been divorced for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, now I'm having a hot flash. Woof.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on today.
You can't laugh too much. Oh my gosh. I think when you laugh,
Is
you
that
get a
what
hot
it is?
flash.
Oh, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. Whoo-wee. Okay. We're going to get past this one today. I can't. Oh my gosh,
so
between
funny.
the dog and the flashes, I can't.
Do you want to switch sides?
No.
Okay.
No.
Episode 2 is getting juicy. Welcome to the Uninvited Guest Podcast.
Hosted by Samina
and Marissa.
We are the mother-daughter duo.
Turn one of your little friends.
Get ready to ditch the filters.
We're trying to break generational curses. Here, the conversations must flow free because our real life interpersonal growth depends on it. So get ready to be a part of the twists and turns in our own life stories that could give any comic book baddie a run for their money.
If you're up for some heartfelt storytelling that celebrates growth, resilience, and the struggle to keep going, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Samina Freeman. I'm your resident host, menopausal mommy, with 5 to 7 years until retirement, reporting from my home in Dallas, Texas. My current open tabs range from the NBA draft combine. If anyone knows me, I'm a college basketball junkie. Pet sitting, and of course still Costa Rica real estate, because I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody you're projected number one?
I think Zach Edey, right?
Yeah.
Which go Big Ten. I mean,
Big Ten.
Not Purdue. My school, obviously.
Yeah, it's your rival school.
My rival school.
Actually, and I'm like, go
rival,
Purdue.
Rival in-state school, but
yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I still root for anyone Big Ten, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though shouldn't it be called the Big 20 now?
Yeah, by the amount of teams that are
coming in. Yeah, because USC and UCLA are coming in.
Wait,
I think
what?
this year. Yeah. Yeah, the Pac-12 is kind of dissolving. And so.
That's weird. That's strange.
Very strange. It'll be very logistically. It'll be interesting for all the athletes to see
how do you fit all of those?
You know that as an athlete, how do you? I mean, most of your, other than a tournament, how do you move from the East Coast to the West Coast? Because remember, you have Rutgers and Maryland in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And then you have UCLA and
Wisconsin.
USC. Yeah, but those are released in the Midwest.
Yeah,
but you have the people that are going from one coast to the other, trying to
play,
and still study, and you're gonna obviously have to miss classes, and how does that all work out?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we will.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
It won't be us figuring it out, though, I can tell you that. Okay, enough about NBA draft. I'm sure we'll report when it all happens, which is 2 weeks, right?
I think it's a month.
A month. Yeah, it's right after the
season ends.
Yeah. Okay, so hi. We digressed a little bit. My name is Marissa. I am your resident zillennial, with 158 days from today, which is May 15th, until I turn 30.
Yay. Do you have plans?
Pending.
Okay.
Plans pending.
Fair.
And my open tabs right now, cycle syncing.
Cycle syncing?
Yeah, it's you're out of that phase and being in menopause.
Oh, okay. I was thinking actually like a bicycle.
No, so there's a thing called cycle syncing, and you eat based off of your cycle to help balance out the hormones.
You're talking about menstrual.
Yes, your menstrual cycle.
Got it.
To help balance out the hormones that you're going through. Or
interesting.
Yeah. So, foods help compensate that. There's a thing called cycle syncing, or vitamins that you should be kind of really taking, or exercise. It even gets as specific as types of exercises. Don't go heavy when you're in your follicular stage, and then when you are whatever, this is a great time for like weightlifting, or like this is when you're like most often have energy. So I'm trying to, because I have been natural now for a year.
Natural meaning?
Off birth control.
Got it.
Natural birth control. Natural cycles. Shout out. It's been rocking for a year now. But like, yeah, so that is something that I'm paying attention to, because I am trying to live a better, cleaner, holistic life.
That's interesting. Now, my question is, do they have like a menopausal cycle
syncing?
Yeah, that's syncing?
Yeah.
Cycle, that's like a tongue twister.
Honestly, that's probably like a good question.
I mean, we're dealing with our hormones too. It's just in reverse, I think, right?
Yeah.
We're losing
all of them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's look into. We have to dive into
Reverse psychology of cycle syncing is menopausal cycle syncing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, I know there's like personalized studies. Like personalized medicine is just becoming like a thing now. So I'm sure there are probably beginning studies on it, because the world is finally realizing that like women are the money, like we buy.
Right.
We are the economy movers.
Right.
So, big investments are happening in that. But
well, hopefully it'll come before I finish menopause.
yeah. How many years do you have left?
Whew, they say it can last anywhere between 10 to 15 years. So like I'm only a few years in. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, me too. And what, every woman, it's different, I guess, like cycles.
Yeah.
Every woman is different.
Yeah.
My best friend, she says she has a hot flash or two. That's it.
A hot flash or two.
Or two.
Meanwhile, you have like a hot flash or two in the first hour of you waking up.
Correct.
Are you having one right now?
Not one right now, but you'll probably know when I do.
It's coming. Okay, well, we'll look into that for sure. And then home decor is still on my thing, because I am redecorating. What I was like, it's like a dining room, but like a dining nook is kind of the vibe I'm going for. Like, I've always loved like bench and then chairs. Like it just gives cozier vibes. And then like a kind of like what we sit in is like a fireplace room. It's like an additional living room. So
right.
I am redecorating that right now. So that's heavy. I'm finding some cute things though, but they're just like way out the budget. So
I can relate to that.
which is why my other open tab is open is Poshmark, so I can hopefully sell some things to buy the things. But
that's a good way of actually. That's good for the environment anyway. Just to recycle it.
yeah,
Instead of throwing it away.
yeah. Right? No, I definitely learned that learning more about sustainability. But okay, so for the next topic as we dive in, what's your word of the week?
My word of the week.
I mean, it's midweek right now. I already said it's May 15th, so.
Yeah. Excited.
Oh, wow. Why?
Well, I just love basketball. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm just excited about what's to come. Like who's gonna get drafted and where do they go and who is coming up for the next season, So I'm always following that trend.
Let me find out you're actually just training to be an NBA commentator. Or a college basketball commentator. ESPN hire her, but don't take her away from this. We're only on episode 2. Okay, excited. I like that. Anything else that's exciting in your life?
No, not really. Not really.
I love the honesty.
Yeah.
No,
just
basketball.
Just life,
Life is pretty.
Just
cool.
life. Life was good, but I mean, the basketball makes me excited. It gets me really excited. So it breaks the everyday monotony of stuff.
Yeah,
so
I get it. Working from home.
Yeah. Working from home, being isolated. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know. I get it. Okay. My word of the week.
Can't think of a word.
No, I know it, like I feel it in my body, but I just don't know how to articulate it. I want release. Actually, that's what it is. It's release. Yeah, that's my word this week.
Okay.
There are things I just need to release emotionally, physically. I just talked about selling things. Like there are just things I need to release. I'm holding on to a little too much.
Oh.
And I'm feeling it really heavy this week.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
You know. Well, I hope you can do that in the near future. Release the things that you don't need.
Yeah.
Because I think it makes your life just a lot simpler. You know, makes you happier.
Yeah.
So it takes the worry and the burden off of you. So
Yeah. I think I'm pretty good about like the fact that I can articulate it, right, is like definitely my Crohn's. But like in my stomach, because I'm a gut person now, having Crohn's, I like can feel the tension. I don't feel myself going into a flare up, but I feel the tension in my stomach of like you're not quite listening to us.
Oh.
You're not quite listening to us, so I'm releasing.
Well, I'm glad you're listening to your gut. You know how your mom feels about you not paying attention to that. So, what is my phrase?
Hot onions?
No. Oh. Yeah, that too. No, that was just like an analogy. But what I would say to you would get sick and tired of getting sick or tired is when you really start taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and obviously you learning to listen to your gut help that.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's the biggest blessing. Like I know it's still a burden in some ways, right? I feel like sometimes I can be a burden to people. I feel like sometimes I can be a burden to myself or my work. But I do think it is one of my biggest blessings to have a overly sensitive stomach because it's like when people are like, listen to your gut. Like I legit have to listen to my gut. Like there's no way out of it.
I never thought about that. Like literally.
Yeah.
That phrase means something really. Like everybody, yeah.
Yeah, no, it actually means something. Yeah, doctors didn't tell us why, but like now we know.
Now you get it.
Now we get. I
get it. You get it.
I get it. But enough about that because we could really go into a shithole.
Literally.
Which is actually kind of funny because I'm getting ready to reference church. So at church on Sunday, because I do want to dive into this because I was like, it was Mother's Day on Sunday.
Right.
And at church, there was a message, and she was speaking about like letting your kids see you suffer, right? Letting your kids see you suffer is a necessary element of parenthood. I can't speak for dads, 'cause I'm not that.
Right.
But as moms go, right, like suffering is just a part of life. Like everybody suffers. You know, we're talking about Crohn's and suffering through that. Your gut is suffering. I believe, you know, I say this now with the knowledge that I have about autoimmune illnesses. I think I held on to a lot as a kid, and I suffered a lot. Not like in a different way, like emotionally suffered, and I just never let it out. So it stayed in, and it ended up
tearing your gut, literally
tearing my gut apart. But like, I think I also did that because you were really good about not letting me suffer in whatever you were suffering in, right? Like I just wasn't, I wasn't privy to some of the suffering, like what you really went through to make it happen for me.
Right. So I let you suffer.
Yeah.
So I let you go through the struggles.
Yeah.
Manage struggles, I would say that.
Yes.
I didn't necessarily let you struggle, but I definitely let you feel like, you know, I never let you, if I felt like you didn't like a teacher, you didn't like a coach, you didn't like some other kid, I'd make you try to figure out how to work it out.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't come to your rescue. You knew that was, but when it comes to me, you're absolutely right. I felt, you know, of course there's no book on parenting.
And
I'm
the
sure
ones that are out there are just like,
yeah. So there's no rule books on parenting, and I come from an age where kids didn't weren't able to speak, right? So you had to stay silent basically until you were told that you can speak. You're authorized to speak, right? So you weren't in grown folks' conversations, so you know.
that is traumatic in itself. It's another subject for another day.
So, so me, I always felt that I wanted for me to protect you. Of course, now I know as an adult, both of us, well, I was an adult then, but both of us being adults, how some that could have hindered you. But I know, I was trying to protect you, and I didn't want you to see me cry.
Yeah.
Basically, like, because there were plenty of times, especially when it came to finances.
Right.
I did show you finances.
Right. Yeah.
I gave you the checkbook, and I showed you how much mom made on a given check, and
Right.
and then we wrote down the bills.
Yeah,
and
I will never forget that.
And we remember at the end of it was like $10.
I think it was the first and last time I saw a checkbook.
Yeah.
Everything went digital after that,
Yeah.
but like, yes.
But there were times that I did cry in silence. I cried whether I couldn't. I was trying to figure out how to make it work, or when things went wrong at the house, what do I do? Because I'm not mechanically inclined. You know that.
Yeah.
Still not mechanically inclined. But yeah, and there were just a lot of struggles that I never wanted. I felt that I didn't want you to be burdened with. I think is probably the better. I wanted you to be a kid, your own kid, and not have to deal with what I was dealing with. So, but obviously now knowing, in retrospect, knowing, sometimes you do need to let your kids see, because if you don't, their kids do. They don't know. Oh my gosh, this dog. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh, this dog just let one. Oh my god.
Oh. It's okay. Just, air it out. Air it out, everybody. It's fine.
Oh, maybe that's what the dog thought of my conversation. I don't know.
She was like, "You talking about some shit."
Oh my gosh. Where was I? Oh my gosh.
Letting me suffer actually could have made me suffer.
Right.
In long,
Yeah, I mean, and I know I've talked to you before, because and everybody else knows now that, I've been divorced for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, now I'm having a hot flash. Woof.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on today.
You can't laugh too much. Oh my gosh. I think when you laugh,
is that what
hot
it is?
Flash.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Whew, okay. We're going to get past this one today. I can't. Oh my gosh!
so
Between
funny.
The dog and the flashes, I can't.
Do you want to switch sides?
No.
Okay.
No.
Episode 2 is getting juicy.
So anyway, what I was saying, you guys are just gonna have to just deal with me while I'm sweating and having this hot flash. If you have any remedies, actually send them my way, because I'm almost willing to try anything. But what I was saying is that since I haven't been I didn't remarry. I realize now, as you're older and you have had relationships.
Yeah.
The one thing I always am concerned about is that you were never able to see two adults in a committed relationship, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
How to compromise, how to love each other, how to fight for your relationship.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know if people know, but your dad didn't remarry either, so you still really didn't get to see that on a full-time basis, even though you're involved with both of us.
Yeah.
But neither one of us chose to remarry while you were younger, and so that always makes me.
Yeah,
concerned.
I think it's a concern that hopefully you're like easing yourself or soothing yourself, I guess is a better word. Now, because you're seeing me work through a relationship, you're seeing me call on you like, hey, I know you didn't do everything perfect, obviously.
Say what? Okay, just joking.
She didn't. But like, but I am calling on you because I am committed. But you did see a whole season at my entire 20s was me like, just like free bodying it, like not like that, but like, just like bouncing around relationship. Part of it was because I was diagnosed with Crohn's at 18. And my doctor said something that just left an imprint on me, and I didn't know how to, like, take that information. He literally said, like, what Crohn's is related to stress. And so anything that stresses you out could potentially put you in the hospital. So the second things did get hard, I was like, I'm out. Right. I'm on to the next guy that, like, wants to give me the, perfect relationship.
Right.
I'll find out that doesn't exist.
Right.
And yeah, I was just so willing to self-sabotage for the sake of my stress-free life. But I realize now the stress is all compiling because I've been avoiding it up until this point. So I'm really learning a lot of lessons daily. Committed to something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just been running, kind of like you said, and like you've always been moving around and like finding home, finding roots is like I kind of was doing that in my relationships. I don't think it was ever, like it wasn't ever voiced, right? Until I was older. I think we probably had that conversation probably like a year ago when you told me that. But I subconsciously avoided relationships because I didn't know how to handle them because it was an example. It was, but not.
It wasn't a daily example in the home.
Yeah, on either end.
Yeah.
Whew. But now we're both suffering. I'm like trying to use this word.
Who's
no,
suffering?
Like we're suffering in a positive direction, I guess. Like I want to speak that over life because like I'm just now realizing that suffering is a necessary evil of life. Like it will always come. No matter how grand you build life to be, suffering is a part of it. You might have better tools to handle your suffering, but you can't avoid it. You can't avoid or have an insufferable life.
Okay.
Do you agree with that? You disagree with that?
No, I mean, I don't think suffering is really the right word. I'm not quite sure what. I mean, I can understand hardships, but suffering to me sounds harsh.
Okay, well, that's like a synonym. In my head, it is. I don't know if it's actually, but I'm just like, that is the term I chose to use to say like suffering, hardships.
Well, hardships I think of more like a temporary obstacle.
Suffering is not everlasting.
Well, yeah, but it sounds really hard. Like,
we'll get used to it. Life's hard. Just
still living in my little fantasy world over here.
Woo, wow. Well, I'm just not even going to touch on that. We'll get to that at some other point. Man, but I think to your point of you saying like, showing me the checkbook, right? There are parts that you wanted to humanize yourself in. And there were other parts I'm sure you wanted to humanize yourself in, but you just didn't know how.
Right.
And then as an adult child, I think the part of the reason why we got to where we got is because we just started to humanize each other. Like, yes, you're my mom, but you're also a daughter of someone. Like, you're a kid.
Right.
Like, you're a sister, your friend. But, like, ultimately, I really had to look at you as a daughter. I think that's when I was like, and the way that you call on grandma, which is helpful, knowing, like, she's still around, right? So I still see you calling your mom.
Right.
But that helped me humanize you in a way of like, man, where have I been really hard on you?
Yeah.
When you were just trying your best. Education being one of them. Like, you wanted to go to Stanford Law?
Well, I was still undergrad at the time.
Okay,
yes.
But you had ambitions to be a lawyer and you wanted to go to Stanford so really bad, and your dad did not let you.
Well, I was accepted.
Well, you were accepted, yes, but he did not support your ambition to go there. For what reason?
Finances.
Oh, well, goes back to finances. It's crazy. Which, I think a lot of things, and maybe you can, I'm just saying from like my experience of being an adult and trying to take care of myself, is like fear-based. Like,
Right.
I just don't know how that's I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know. And so I'm assuming that, your dad kind of had the same perspective. Like, I just don't know how that's gonna work.
Right.
But he never
verbalized it. It was just like an absolute no.
Right.
It wasn't like, let's try to figure it out. Like, if I think now, kind of like the checkbook, going back to the checkbook.
Right.
Like, if we would have tried to put it down on a piece of paper and say, okay, let's see, what can we do? Like, can you get scholarships? Can you, what's out there?
Yeah.
How can we reduce
Yeah.
the tuition and the cost of living of you moving out of state? Because I was out of state.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. The door was just shut immediately after the yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're accepted. Then the door was shut because once, the tuition was there, and they were like, there's no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, which led to a projection on me.
Yeah.
Because that door was closed on you so aggressively. You opened that door wide open and then opened like 50 other doors ahead of me. Because you were like, she is gonna get the best education. She's gonna go to the most prestigious school, private school. I'm sure in hopes that I went to Stanford as well.
Oh, not necessarily Stanford, but it was more about making sure you had the tools to get where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted you, my goal, of course, was to have you with everybody like-minded to go off to college, and they could go to any college they wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was my goal.
Yeah.
And then you could decide, not me being the factor, saying no.
Right.
You could say, no, I don't want to go there, or even if the school told you no, but I at least gave you the tools.
Right. Yeah.
To be able to put yourself in that position.
Right.
So.
Yeah, which is like you did the inner child work, right? Like, you were like, what I will not do, that my parents did, which I think, we all do. Like,
right.
As generations evolve, you take what you consider the best of your parents and you try to embody that, and then you leave the rest, or you maneuver it, manipulate it in a way that makes most sense to you, or tries to heal your inner child for the sake of the next generation. But in order to do that, we found that like you have to communicate that. Like,
right.
You have to communicate that almost at the moment that you realize your kid can start to articulate it.
Right.
You don't have to have these, heavy worded conversations, but just start telling them about like, let's dream big.
Yeah.
Let's dream big together. Like, what are you interested in? And starting to like nurture that instead of like pushing it out of the gate.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if I had to do it all over again, because of course you didn't know about those struggles. I don't think you knew about those until after you were in college. I don't know
what struggle
about. I mean, not going to Stanford. I don't know when you knew that story. I know you didn't know it as a kid.
No, I didn't. It was definitely my adult years post college. Like, I don't.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, if I can go back and relive that, then obviously I would have done that a little bit differently. But I didn't know any better. All I knew is that I wanted you to,
for sure,
to have the best opportunity that you could have.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't there for me.
Yeah. Which goes back to humanizing.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny now that I've done what I've done. Like, I made the choices that I did to go to college and then leave college and go the entrepreneurship route. I would tell my kids to like find the hybrid of the two, like go. And that's something that I'm like instilling in my niece and my nephew, who are in high school. Like, go to college, like live like that. You learn so much. community building. You learn how to kind of like provide for yourself in a sense, right? You're not completely independent, but it's a nice middle ground or bridge to like hyper independence that life just throws at you.
Right.
And I had no choice, right, into being open because I'm the auntie.
Right.
So the conversations that we have are kind of like sister, brother, sister, conversations where I'm like, do it all. Do it all.
Right.
Because you can. And then being very just open about my life.
Yeah.
As much as I can, which is that helped because honestly, you started that by having open conversations with me. About 17, we were trying to reflect on when we really came back together, back around, which we're still trying to figure that out. But I know it was the school event was the big hitter for me.
School event?
Yeah, where we did the AT&T.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was tough. I don't know if I'm ready to talk about that. Like, I think
We
I
can
might
talk about
cry.
that another time.
Yeah, for sure. But that was definitely a moment that we'll have to discuss because that was a pivotal moment where I was like, I need my mom.
I don't think I realized that. I don't think I realized that was your.
I cried in front of the entire student
Yeah,
body.
but I don't think I realized that was your pivotal moment.
Oh.
You know, because I think at that time I was still longing for you to come back, you know.
Come back home. You physically wanted me to come
Not
back.
necessarily just come back to me.
Oh, yeah.
You see, because I was always on the outside, still always watching, right?
Yeah.
Just hoping that, like, you know, one day our relationship is going to be repaired. I don't know what day that was going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't think I don't really remember that was the moment.
Yeah.
You remember that, but, you know, I think because every day where, you know, I still longed for that and I still tried to stay engaged even from afar.
Yeah.
So you always knew I was there.
Right.
Even though you didn't want to say anything or you just gave me the look. Yeah. I see you and that was it.
I was like,
you know, so I don't really think I remembered that was a day.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I was hoping that our relationship would be repaired.
yeah, I think that's I think the best way to articulate it, because it wasn't like that day and then we were like good.
The besties, yeah.
But it was like when my guilt and shame entered the chat. And I was like, damn. All right. And then I was hard on myself and was like, how do I get back? And then it was slow. It was a slow drip.
Yeah.
Slow drip.
But look at us now. Look at us now. It's a good thing there's not a song that I would obviously, you know, I'd start singing something.
I'm sure there is. We're just not. It's not coming to us.
It's not coming. And you don't want to hear my singing anyway, honestly.
I don't know. I'd try. We can auto-tune it. I would totally edit this and auto-tune it, and you'd be so shocked by the end of the episode. You'd be like, why do I sound like that?
Hey, is that really my voice?
T-Pain.
Let me try out for American Idol now.
Okay, so one thing I do want to, like, close on or, like, talk about, because I think it's related to this conversation, is the things you vowed not to do and the things you did want to do from your parents. Like, what did you take from grandma and grandpa that you were like, absolutely? And then the things that you were like, I want to be the change.
Yeah, well, you know, the one thing that I vowed is that we would always take vacations. Vacations, I've always felt were very important. And not only was it a break from just whatever life was happening, you know, it was also a way to us experience other parts of the world, like to see how the people live and other cultures and other food. So that, I cannot thank my parents enough for making sure that there was always a budget for travel. Now, that being said, I am not the travel person with an itinerary. I don't like to travel with an itinerary. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I like to know I'm going somewhere, obviously, and
Yeah.
where I'm staying, but that's it. Like, I like to have a guideline.
Yeah.
But I'm not the person that likes to stick to, like, okay, I've got to go here at this time on this day. I'm just not that person. Unless it's like something that's only open like one day, it's something special.
Yeah.
But I'm just I'm just the one person that just likes to relax and kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, that's definitely you. I think that's why I'm such an easy traveler and why traveling is such a big part of my life. Like outside of education, that was my second education, was like letting me see the world at such a young age. I mean, I think about how I reached 6 out of the 7 continents by 25.
You've gone to more than I have. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but you really instilled that in me and I took it serious, and it's
Yeah.
something I will, carry with my kids.
I hope so.
Yeah, oh, for sure. One, because mama needs a break. Two, like, I do want them to see, like, I think it has led my empathetic life. Like, I have empathy for humanity because I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of it, too, but I feel like I've seen a lot for my age.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and we didn't necessarily, it wasn't always about just resorts.
yeah, no.
And,
Got Parasite in Cuba.
well, I mean, we got to see the good and the bad of the countries or wherever we're staying.
Right. No,
the
for
poor and the rich, of the rich. We saw it all. So, and that was really, because it doesn't really do any good if you just go to somewhere and you're just isolated to just the good.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get to see what the people,
Yeah.
what they're about. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. The totality of what makes a nation a nation.
Yeah.
Or a country a country. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and then what thing did I think, well, I always tell you one of the reasons for our divorce was that I felt like you need to have a voice, right? And so, as a woman, right? And so, I felt that was one thing I was not going to tolerate, and I was going to pass on to you to give you that opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
And that was obviously one thing I took from Grandma and Grandpa, because we know how that dynamic is.
Yeah.
And that will be another conversation later. But
Yeah.
I do believe that me being brave enough to acknowledge that helped you become the person that you are.
Yeah, how'd that backfire on you?
Well, there are many times where I said, "Oh my goodness," but no, it didn't backfire.
No, I didn't. But you did also, like, you were like, okay, I know I told you, say what you gotta say, but also you definitely told me, Marissa,
There are feelings on the other side, so always think about the word that you say. Yeah, I didn't necessarily say those kind of that word exactly, but
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing.
I always remember of you saying, like, Marissa, there's someone on the other side of your words.
Yes.
Which, yes. And I just feel like I'm super honest.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being honest.
No, but I definitely, like,
You have to learn to cater your words to who you're talking, your audience, basically.
yeah, for sure. But also still being true to myself.
Correct.
Which I think, again, a part of that was like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it all, which is another one. And I felt like sometimes my words weren't so nice, or I like couldn't figure out how. So I would just like silence it, which again, going back to like taking it all in myself and holding it within me, like I kind of felt like I couldn't say it at all, which is why, one, this podcast is great, because I'm learning that I have a fear of speaking.
That's interesting.
Like, I'm confident in most situations, in most cases. And then there are certain specific cases where I'm not, or scenarios where I'm not confident. And I like get all choked up and I get very emotional. You know that. And I think it's because I'm like, I hear you. Like, there's someone on the other side of your words. If you
Sorry.
don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. It's good. It's a filter. But I filtered it too much. Like I took it a little too seriously when I should have inserted some of our humor that we have in it. So I'm working on that. And this is helping me work on that. Otherwise, this would have been a tear-filled conversation.
Yeah, well,
or I would
every
have
once in a while
shaky.
you could tear too.
Oh, you won't get the tears.
We probably need to start bringing tissues.
Yeah, between your sweating and my tears, for sure. Yeah, I would like to add one thing that you did really good that you told me as an adult. Is like, you're really good about saying I love you. Even though you're bad at saying I miss you.
Oops.
You're really good at saying I love you.
Oh.
Which, like, I remember the day when I was on the phone with Grandma and I was like, I love you. And Grandma was like, I love you too. And we ended and she was like, you were like, did Grandma just say she loved you? And I was like, yeah, she's my grandma. You were like, yeah, but she didn't really say that. She showed it.
Yeah.
But she didn't really say that.
It wasn't her vocabulary. Yeah. It wasn't in her vocabulary.
Yeah. But I think, another conversation to dive deep into another day is I think also because she was the eldest and she lost her mother very young. So that probably backed some of that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, man, we really did dive deep through all the napping, the farts, the hot flashes. What did I do?
You sat there and talked.
I sat here and talked. But we did it.
We did it. It's another one. Yes.
In the books.
In the books. And it was a good one. It was a good conversation.
I know. I'm really liking this.
Yeah, me too.
Kelly.
Does that mean you're coming home?
When? I am.
No.
Does it
mean you're coming home? Like, permanently home? Okay, so girl can
You're
only wish.
leaving to Costa Rica. What sense does that?
Well, that's not for another 7 years.
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay. We'll talk about this.
Okay.
This will be a whole conversation. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Uninvited Guest. We will see you very soon. And in the meantime, keep up with us on our socials, which I will add below. See ya.
Bye.